Now she's going to zoom in on this really close to the teeth so that you can kind of see the ties and how close they are to the teeth themselves, or the brackets themselves. Now typically what you do with this upper left 3, the most deflected side is the distal side. That would be a real tough tie-in. So typically what I will do is I will tie in this one if I'm on this side. Make it a little bit easier for me because I can get at it here just a little bit easier. Sit there. And just make absolutely sure that, you know, it's tied in nice and tight if you're going to do it without tying it in on the most deflective side. So again, I'm stabilizing the bracket a lot, and I'm kind of giving it one last little cinch, and let's see, turn this way. And you can see that adheres to the bracket base very nicely. In this particular case, we're only going back to the 5s. So I'll go to that 5. This is bent at 90 degrees, or else you would never ever be able to get it back there. If you can't see super well, you can have one of the assistants kind of hold the lip out of the way for you. And again, I'm kind of stabilizing the back of the bracket pad right there. Okay. Now turn to the left just a little. Now this one might require a ligature director to get in completely. With an 012 knife tie, you should be able to tie that upper right 2 in pretty well. Sometimes it's a little bit of a strain to actually get the tie on it. You kind of have to go one side and then the other. Sometimes you can have your assistant hold the wire for you while you go with your finger on the other side until both sides are engaged. And then I'll take the ligature director this time. So at first what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it in with my finger. Stabilizing the bracket again, and then you can actually either have the assistant do it or you can do it yourself. You can take the ligature director and make sure that that wire is completely engaged into the slot. Then go ahead and cinch it down completely, and that wire will be nice and tight. I'm going to re-grab it there just for a second. Cinch it down nice and tight. Push this other side so that it's nice and okay. Now you can see, if I get this wire out of the way, you can see how that wire truly goes into the mesial of that bracket slot. And this is what you can do with an 012 knife tie. Once in a while, the wires are so far away from the bracket slot that you do need help keeping it in while you put the ligature tie around. This one seems to stay in pretty well. Push it in. Stabilize with my finger. And again, I'm pushing right against the facial surface so that I can get that wire completely engaged. And you can see, now you can really see from the upright 1, 2, and 3 how the wire is deflected quite a bit. And then lastly on this demo, the upper right. I'm going to tie in the upright 5. Place it in the slot. Give it just a couple of twists. Grab, stabilize, and twist. Okay. Now, very important with nai-tai is when you're cutting the distal ends with a very, very light nai-tai wire, you want to make sure that you have a high volume aspirator tip next to the wire, so that if it does, if the distal end cutter does not grab it, it won't go flying, down the patient's throat or anything. So put it right against the back of that cap, squeeze. This particular time, it grabbed it just fine. An 012 nai-tai, no problem. Always make sure that you can find those or see those. You do not want to cut and then not be able to find that, because it could be stuck to their mucosa somewhere, and then later they could swallow it. And again, I caught that one. Okay, now as far as these ligature ties, what you want to do is you can leave them on like this. You can cut them individually, just like we talked about in class. But what I tend to do is leave them on until the very end, and then pretty much cut all at once, or at least half, and then tuck. So what I did just then is I cut about half, and I'm just taking the edge of the distal or the light wire cutter and just taking these things and tucking them underneath the wire just a little bit and out of the way. And especially in the beginning, it's important to get them out of the way, because the patient's lips are going to be sore after a very short period of time. Now this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually tuck it back underneath the bracket itself to get it out of the way. This one here I'm going to tuck underneath the wire. Okay. And then I'm going to go to the remaining and turn to the right. Okay. This one, the upright 3, again, there's no place to tuck to the mesial because the wire is right against the facial surface of the tooth. So this one too, I'm going to tuck back underneath the bracket itself. And just make sure that you get these out of the way and that there's nothing sharp that's irritating the patient. So basically, we just went basically upper 5 to 5 right now. I'll show you guys how to do the molars a little bit later. But this is what it looks like. This wire was pretty passive in the slot, so I'm just going to leave this gray here. But as you can see, all the rest are actually tied, and we're good to go. Run your finger across it. Make sure that there's not any points that are sticking out and extra. And you can go back and just make sure that they're tucked really, really nice. There you go. Okay.